Have you ever noticed that the harder you try to control your life, the more peace slips away? You keep thinking about tomorrow. You worry about things that have not happened. You replay old mistakes before sleeping. You expect people to understand you without saying a word. You become upset when life does not follow your plans. And little by little, you stop living today. Many people believe they are carrying responsibilities, but the truth is, most of them are carrying unnecessary weight inside their minds. Maybe you have also asked yourself, why is my heart always tired? Why do I overthink every small thing? Why can't I just feel peaceful? If these questions have ever lived inside your heart, then today's story is for you. Because sometimes the greatest change in life does not happen when everything around you changes. It happens when something inside you quietly says, just let it be. Hello everyone, my name is Wali, and welcome back to Wali Tales. Here we learn simple English through meaningful stories that help us understand life, people, and ourselves. Today's story takes us back hundreds of years to a small village where people owned very little, but some of them carried more wisdom than kings. Let's begin. Long ago, between wide green fields and quiet hills, there stood a small village called Iven. The houses were made of mud and wood. Children played barefoot in dusty streets. Every evening, the smell of fresh bread filled the air, and every morning, the sound of birds woke the entire village. Life was simple, but not every heart was peaceful. Among the villagers lived a young man named Iven. He was 22 years old, strong, hardworking, honest. Everyone believed he would become one of the finest farmers in the village. But there was one thing nobody could help him with. His mind never rested. If the sky became cloudy, he worried about his crops. If someone looked at him without smiling, he wondered if they secretly hated him. If another farmer harvested more wheat, he felt he was falling behind. If something good happened, he immediately became afraid of losing it. His body worked in the fields, but his thoughts lived somewhere between yesterday and tomorrow. His mother often watched him eating dinner in complete silence. One evening, she finally asked, "Iven, when was the last time you enjoyed your own meal?" He looked at her with confusion. "I eat every day," she smiled sadly. "No, you only swallow food. Your mind is always somewhere else." Iven had no answer, because deep inside, he knew she was right. 1 week later, the village prepared for the yearly harvest festival. People cleaned their homes. Children laughed together. Women baked bread. Old men repaired wooden benches near the village square. Everyone looked happy, except Iven. Instead of enjoying the celebration, he spent the whole day worrying. What if the rain comes? What if next year's harvest fails? What if I never become successful? That evening, while everyone celebrated under hundreds of small oil lamps, Iven quietly walked away from the crowd. He followed an old dusty road until the music slowly disappeared behind him. After walking for almost an hour, he reached a large oak tree. An elderly man was sitting beneath it. His clothes were old. His walking stick was made from wild olive wood. Beside him rested a small cloth bag. He looked like an ordinary traveler. Nothing more. The old man looked at Iven and smiled. "You are walking very fast." "I am trying to clear my mind." The old man chuckled softly. "If your mind is running, your feet cannot catch it." Iven sighed. "You speak like every old person, and every old person tells me to stop worrying. But nobody tells me how. The old man nodded gently. That is because advice is easy. Understanding is difficult. For a few moments, neither of them spoke. Finally, the old man stood up. My name is Sahir. I have visited many villages, and everywhere I go, people ask the same question. How can I find peace? Iven looked at him with tired eyes. Do you know the answer? Sahir smiled. No. Iven looked disappointed. Then Sahir continued. But I know where the answer lives. Iven frowned. Where? The old traveler pointed toward the lights of the village. There. Iven looked confused. My village? Sahir nodded. Tomorrow morning, walk with me. I will not teach you anything. The village will. The next morning, before sunrise, they began walking through the quiet streets. Iven expected long speeches. He expected old wisdom. He expected difficult words. Instead, Sahir simply smiled and said, Today, say very little. Watch carefully, listen deeply, and never interrupt. Not long after, they reached the first house. Outside sat an old woman spinning wool with slow hands. Her name was Mira. She looked poor. Her clothes had been repaired many times, yet she hummed a cheerful song while working. Iven whispered, She has almost nothing. Why is she smiling? Sahir answered, Let's ask. Mira welcomed them warmly. Sahir asked, Mira, people always see you smiling. What is your secret? The old woman laughed. My secret? I stopped counting what life forgot to give me. She continued spinning the wool. When I was young, I wanted a bigger house. I wanted expensive clothes. I wanted life to be fair. She smiled at the morning sky. Years passed. Some dreams came true. Many did not. One day I became so busy counting what was missing that I stopped seeing what was already in my hands. She gently touched the basket beside her. My bread, my little garden, my neighbors, my mornings, my memories. I almost lost them, not because they disappeared, but because I refused to notice them. Iven stayed silent. Mira looked directly into his eyes. My son, happiness does not hide from people. It quietly leaves those who only look for what they don't have. As they walked away, Iven did not speak. For the first time, he wondered how many beautiful things had been standing beside him all these years, while he kept staring at what was missing. Sahir smiled but said nothing. After a long silence, he finally spoke. That was only the first lesson. The village still has many stories waiting for you. Neither of them knew that the next person they were about to meet would challenge something Iven had believed his entire life. The sun slowly climbed into the sky. The village became busy. People opened their shops. Children chased each other through the narrow streets. Some women carried water from the old well. Others prepared food for the afternoon. Sahir and Iven continued walking without saying much. After a while, they reached a small blacksmith's workshop. The sound of iron hitting iron echoed across the village. An old blacksmith named Daran was repairing farming tools. His hands were covered with burns and small scars. Yet every time a customer arrived, he welcomed them with a smile. Iven noticed something unusual. Many of the tools lying on the table belonged to people who had promised to pay weeks ago. They still haven't paid you? Iven asked. Daran smiled. Some have. Some haven't. But they will. And if they don't, Daran continued working calmly, then life will collect the debt in another way. Iven looked surprised. You are not angry? The old blacksmith placed the hammer on the table. When I was younger, I used to remember every coin people owed me. I remembered every broken promise. I remembered every unfair word. I thought I was protecting myself. But one day I realized something. I had become richer in anger than in peace. He laughed softly. So I made a strange decision. I stopped keeping 2 records. The record in my shop is enough. I no longer keep another record inside my heart. Iven felt those words enter his chest like an arrow. How many old conversations was he still carrying? How many people had already forgotten what happened? While he was still replaying those moments every night, as they left, Sahir quietly said, "Some people lock themselves inside prisons, then spend years searching for the person holding the key." They continued walking until they reached the village well. A little boy, no older than 8, was trying to pull up a heavy bucket. The rope slipped from his hands again and again. Several adults walked past him without noticing. Without saying a word, Sahir and Iven helped him. The boy smiled brightly. "Thank you." He filled 2 small clay cups with water. One for Sahir, one for Iven. After drinking, the boy happily ran away. Iven laughed. "He gave us water from his own bucket." Sahir nodded. "Did you notice something?" "What?" "He never complained that the bucket was heavy. He never asked why no one helped him sooner. He simply smiled the moment help arrived." They sat beside the well. Sahir looked at the clear water. Children lose peace for only a few minutes. Adults know how to keep it for years. Iven lowered his eyes. He remembered arguments that had happened many years ago. He remembered words spoken by people who probably no longer even remembered them. Yet he still carried them. For the first time, he felt tired of carrying them. By afternoon, they reached the edge of the village. An old shepherd named Halen was sitting beneath a tree while his sheep grazed freely. One young sheep suddenly wandered far away. Iven quickly stood. "It is leaving." Halen smiled without moving. A few moments later, the little sheep returned on its own. Iven looked confused. "You weren't worried?" Halen shook his head. "If I run after every sheep that becomes curious, I will frighten the whole flock." He looked toward the distant hills. "Some things return because you chase them, but some things return only after you stop chasing." Those words stayed inside Iven. He thought about friendships he had forced, dreams he had rushed, answers he had demanded before their time. Perhaps not everything needed to be pulled closer. Some things needed room to find their own way back. As evening approached, Sahir led Iven to the oldest house in the village. An elderly couple sat outside sharing a single loaf of bread. Neither of them spoke very much, yet every few moments they smiled at each other. After finishing the meal, the old man quietly broke the last piece of bread and placed it in his wife's hands. She smiled but broke it again, giving half back to him. Iven whispered, "They have almost nothing." Sahir nodded. "But look carefully. What do you see?" "I see poor people." Sahir gently smiled. "I see 2 people who stopped asking life for more, long enough to enjoy what was already on their table." The old couple invited them to sit. The old woman asked Iven, "Young man, what do you think makes a happy home?" Iven answered, "A good harvest, a strong house, enough money." The old man smiled kindly. "We thought the same when we were young." He looked at his wife. "But after 50 years together, we discovered something. A peaceful home is not built by having everything. It is built by stopping the habit of believing something is always missing. Silence filled the air. The evening wind moved gently through the trees. For the first time in his life, Iven realized he had spent years postponing happiness. He always believed, I'll be peaceful after this problem. I'll smile after I earn more. I'll rest after everything becomes perfect. But life kept moving, and perfection never arrived. As they walked back toward the village, the streets slowly became quiet. Oil lamps began glowing outside each home. Families gathered for dinner. Children laughed. Dogs barked in the distance. Everything looked exactly the same as yesterday. Yet something inside Iven had started changing. He finally broke the silence. Sahir, you never gave me advice. You only let me watch people. The old traveler smiled. Because advice enters the ears, but truth enters the heart. He looked toward the warm lights shining across the village. Tomorrow, you will meet one last person, and after that, you will understand why peace has never been hiding from you. It has only been waiting for you to stop chasing everything else. The next morning, before the first rays of sunlight touched the village, Sahir knocked gently on Iven's door. Without saying much, they began walking. They left the village behind and followed a narrow path that led to a quiet hill. At the top of the hill stood a small wooden bench. An old man was already sitting there. His name was Elric. He was one of the oldest people in the village. Years ago, he had been known as the strongest farmer in the region. People respected him because he had built one of the largest farms with nothing but hard work. Now he owned almost nothing. His farm had been divided among his children. His body had become weak. His hair had turned completely white. Yet his face carried a peace that Iven had never seen before. Sahir greeted him warmly. I brought someone who has been searching for peace. Elric smiled. I spent half my life searching for it too. The three of them sat together in silence. After a while, Elric asked Iven, if life gave you one more field, would you finally be satisfied? Iven hesitated. I think so. Elric smiled. I used to say the same. When I got one field, I wanted two. When I had two, I wanted four. When I had four, I became afraid of losing them. He looked toward the rising sun. Then one year, a great storm destroyed almost everything I had built. I thought my life was over. For months, I kept asking, why me? But life never answered. So one morning, I stopped asking. Iven listened carefully. What happened after that? Elric smiled gently. Nothing. Iven looked confused. Nothing? No miracle. No treasure. No sudden success. The storm did not return what it had taken. But something inside me became lighter. I stopped arguing with yesterday. I stopped negotiating with things that could never be changed. I finally had enough strength to live today. A deep silence filled the hill. The only sound was the wind moving through the grass. Then Elric picked up a handful of dry soil. He slowly opened his hand. The wind carried the soil away. Look carefully. I could spend the whole day trying to catch every grain. But evening would come, and I would return home with empty hands. Some things are meant to stay. Some things are meant to leave. Wisdom is knowing the difference. Iven lowered his head. For years, he had been trying to hold on to everything. Old mistakes, old pain, old expectations, old fears. Things that had already left, but never left his mind. Tears quietly filled his eyes. I understand now, Sahir smiled. No, you have only begun. Understanding happens in one moment. Living it takes a lifetime. They walked back toward the village. The same road, the same trees, the same houses. Nothing around Iven had changed. But this time, he noticed things he had never noticed before. A little girl laughing while chasing chickens. A father carrying his sleeping son. Fresh bread cooling outside a small bakery. An old woman watering flowers. Simple moments. Moments that had always existed. Moments he had ignored because he was too busy worrying about tomorrow. That evening, the harvest festival continued. The music was the same. The people were the same. But Iven was different. For the first time in years, he laughed without thinking about tomorrow. He ate without worrying about next year's harvest. He watched the stars without asking a single question. As the night grew darker, he turned to Sahir. "I finally understand what you meant." Sahir smiled. "What did I mean?" Iven looked across the peaceful village. "Peace is not something I find after life becomes perfect. It is something I lose every time I fight what I cannot control." Sahir gently nodded. "Exactly. Do your work with all your heart. Love people while they are with you. Learn from yesterday. Prepare for tomorrow. But never allow yesterday or tomorrow to steal today. Sometimes the bravest words you will ever say are, 'Just let it be.'" The next morning, Sahir quietly left the village before anyone woke up. He left no letter, no goodbye, only footprints on the dusty road. Years later, whenever people asked Iven why he always looked peaceful, he never spoke about success. He never spoke about money. He simply smiled and said, "One traveler taught me that life is not a problem to be solved every day. It is a gift to be lived, one day at a time."
My dear friends, how many things are you carrying today that no longer belong in your heart? How many conversations keep replaying in your mind? How many mistakes have you already paid for, yet you continue punishing yourself? Think about it. Life will never ask your permission before changing. People will disappoint you, plans will fail, some dreams will take longer than you expected, and some answers may never come. But even after all of that, you still have a choice. You can spend your life fighting every wave, or you can keep moving forward with faith, patience, and peace. Remember this: accepting reality does not mean giving up, it means saving your energy for the things you can actually change. So today, take one deep breath, forgive what needs forgiveness, release what is already gone. Do your best, trust the journey, and whenever life becomes too heavy, quietly remind yourself, just let it be. If this story touched your heart, tell me in the comments, what is the one thing you need to let go of today? I would really love to read your thoughts. And if this story gave you even a little peace, please press the like button. It may seem like a small click, but it helps this channel reach people who may need these words today. Share this video with someone who has been carrying too much in silence. Maybe a friend, maybe your parents, maybe someone who keeps smiling while hiding their pain. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe to Wali Tales. Every week, we bring simple English stories with powerful life lessons that help us grow together, one story at a time. And before you leave, don't miss the previous story on this channel, 7 Keys to Success. If you want to understand the 7 habits that quietly build a successful life, I truly believe you will enjoy that story too. Until the next time, take care of yourself, keep learning, keep improving. And remember, the most peaceful heart is not the one that controls everything. It is the one that knows when to simply Just let it be.